Hello everyone, I am Sarge, and today I'll be giving you some tips on how to unlock the Quick Fix, this week's legendary survival weapon. To track what you're doing to unlock this weapon, head into the challenge section of the menu and check on weekly challenges. One of these challenges will be marked as survival mode, and will be called Survive. This is the one we're after. The challenges we have to complete this week are collect 250 water and wood, harvest 50 vegetables, eat 50 raw meat, and craft 20 healing salves. In order for these activities to be counted, you do need to complete them in survival mode. All of these challenges are actually pretty easy, if a little time consuming and dull. The biggest bit of advice I can give for completing them is to stick to the forest. Everything you'll need is here, and it means you won't have to worry about any particularly challenging fights as you try and get this done. Let's start with the most time consuming challenge to complete: collect wood. At first, I thought this meant to just collect 250 wood, a very easy task that can be done in a few minutes. As it turns out, what it actually wants you to do is collect wood 250 times. This means that scrapping down items won't help you here. Instead, you have to walk over to wood piles or fallen logs and collect wood from them 250 times. This is the main reason I advise sticking to the forest region. There are fallen logs everywhere here, so just pick up wood from all of them and you'll eventually get this part of the challenge done. Completing the Collect Water challenge is by far the easiest of them all. Stand in water and hit the prompt to collect dirty water. Do this 250 times, and the challenge is completed. If you want to reduce the chance you'll get disease from this, you can do this in power armor like I did, but honestly that's all the help I can give you with this one. Everyone can get this done in under a couple of minutes. If you were worried about getting a disease from the water challenge, you're going to hate the raw meat one. To complete this, you're going to want to hunt down wasteland animals, pick up their flesh, and shove it straight in your mouth. If you're looking for a good place to get a lot of meat at once, I'd recommend heading down to Flatwoods. There's mongrels on the road leading up to it, possums roaming around the buildings, mole rats that will try and ambush you, brahmin relaxing behind the buildings, and even a small camp with some radstag hanging up. When you gather meat off of corpses, do keep in mind you can use Butcher's Bounty in order to increase how much you get, upping the total amount of raw meat you end up with. I'd advise eating as much of the raw meat in one bout as you can, and then popping a couple of disease cures to fix whatever it left you with. Harvesting vegetables was an easy challenge for me, as I had a farm at my camp. If you don't have your own farm, then you can just head to any of the farms on the map and get a decent number of items. Keep in mind it's just vegetables you're after, so fruit items, such as mute fruit, won't add to this. Finally, we have what I suppose is the trickiest challenge to actually complete: crafting 20 healing salves. Fortunately, I've got your back here and can tell you where to get ingredients nice and fast. The easiest version of healing salves to craft is the forest version, one you likely unlocked within the first couple of hours of playing the game. For this recipe, all you need is boiled water, soot flour, and blood leaf. Boiled water is easy to make. In fact, you can boil all that dirty water you collected earlier to get yourself boiled water. As for soot flour, that stuff is littered all over the forest region. There's even some right outside of Vault 76. Bloodleaf is a little harder to just stumble across, but fortunately there's a river stretch with all you need. From the Overseer's camp, head under the nearby bridge and head south down the river. Along both riverbanks will be regular bloodleaf plants. If you have green thumb equipped, you only need to harvest 10 of these plants in order to get the required amount of plant to craft all 20 healing salves. Once you've got all of the required ingredients, head to a cooking station or chemistry workbench and craft this item 20 times. Super Duper and Chemist will increase your yield, but won't directly impact the challenge. Even if you're making salves 2 at a time, you still need to choose the craft option 20 times. And that's it for the challenges, all relatively straightforward ones that can be done within an hour or two. Once this is done, you will be rewarded with the Quick Fix, a 3-star Switchblade with the Junkies, faster swing speed, and +1 endurance effects. The question is this something you want? No, you don't, it sucks, it's a Switchblade. Plus, it has the Junkies effect. This is not a sought after effect by any means. Faster swing speed and +1 endurance on a melee weapon are great, but Junkies is terrible. I'm at around 500 hours spent in this game, and I'm yet to get addicted to anything. If you're using chems constantly, then you might end up with an addiction or two, but you really have to try for it to occur. This means one of the most important legendary modifiers on this weapon is useless. I tried riffing out on the Heart of a Swamp event, and I was able to get by killing basic enemies thanks to the added swing speed, but when the Queen showed up, I quickly switched over to something that does more than a tickle. A legendary Switchblade is never going to be great. It's one of the weaker melee weapons you can go for, and no amount of legendary effects are going to make it a prime choice. My advice would be to skip over this week's legendary weapon unless you're really looking to just do some busy work in survival mode. The weapon is unlikely to be a good fit for anyone, and I expect it will only be collectors actively trying to complete the challenges. And that's it for this week's legendary weapon guide. Sadly, a bit of a disappointing one, but there's always next week. If you want to see what weapon is coming to the game next week and how to go about obtaining it, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have hit the notification bell. I'd also really appreciate a like on this video, more than anything just to make me feel better about walking around the forest picking up wood scraps from logs for the best part of an hour. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons, who ensure I can get this sort of content to you as quickly and effectively as possible.